So, we at Project Glimmer, we say, find your magic. What is your magic, right? And it's not exactly a superpower. You can have probably magic and a superpower. So can I just ask you what your magic is and why?
So I would say my magic is that on my name tag it said that I'm a listener. I like to learn from other people. I like to ask questions. I think it makes people feel important. But there's always a reason that I'm asking questions and listening. It's because I'm often trying to figure out what I don't know. And really my magic is that I am persistent and that I always have a goal. And that could be, making sure that I get through college, even if it takes me 6 years and I have to work full time. Or it may mean that I just, make sure that I put up my bathroom towel rack over the weekend, if I set my mind to it. So I would say, always have a goal, something that you're working towards, and find the people around you, even if you don't know them, who can help you achieve that.
My magic is resilience. And for me, that means no matter what life throws at me, no matter how down I might feel or how hard something might be, it's not going to hold me back or down. By being, by having that resilience, I've been able to bounce back. And sometimes you don't know what path you're on, and you don't know why you're on that path, but it always leads you to a better place if you believe. And so resilience is my magic.
So what I bring to my clients, what I bring to my community is laughter, hilarity, and I try not to take myself too serious. And I want people, when they're around me, to feel empowered, to be enlightened, to feel like this isn't the worst. Bad days come, good days come, bad days don't stay forever.
Oh, Hillary, I love it. She just makes me smile. So I wrote down that my magic was laughter, and I thought about it for a moment and wanted to rework that a little bit. I really feel my magic is being authentic, being who I am, being unique. We all have amazing skills and talents, and I had to learn that what I brought to the table meant just as much as somebody else. I may not be the smartest person in the room, I may not be the tallest, but what I do bring is authenticity. I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to be open and have new experiences, and that can take you far. It took me across the country, so clearly it works.
That's great. Well, mine's happy, but it's more of a complex happy because it's about choosing your happiness, which is almost like impartiality. So you can't really control what happens in your life. And even when you don't always get your way, you can choose to be happy anyway. And I found out a long time ago that, you could, if you just chose your own happiness, it just made life a little bit easier. And it's kind of a hard concept to grasp, but once you grasp it, it's pretty life-changing. And so you guys are all in the financial services world. What did you want to be when you grow up? Did you want to be a community lender? Tell us. And you can all, however many. Okay.
So when I started college, I wanted to be a dentist. And that was my passion. So I took biology, I signed up for all the science courses, and my counselor at the time said, your science classes suck, your grades are horrible, you need to pick something else. And so I did. If I could look back and talk back to myself, I'd say go for it anyway. Don't let one person stand in the way of that. Now, I love my financial services career. I love where I am at First Republic. I make a difference in the lives of families to remain homes and keep their household in San Francisco. So what I'm doing is the work that I would never have been able to do as a dentist. But I will tell you, if I could talk back to myself then, I would say go for it and don't let anyone else stand in the way of what you have in your heart to do, what you want to bring to this world.
I think a great lesson there is if somebody is underestimating you, and even if you're not getting straight A's or whatever, but you still have a passion and you believe in what it is, you should still do it, right? And maybe you just take the class again, right? Or whatever it is. Would you agree?
I would agree, 100%.
I had two things I wanted to be. One was I wanted to be an ice cream scooper at Baskin Robbins. I don't know if you have Baskin Robbins in San Francisco, but on the East Coast, Baskin Robbins was very big, 31 flavors. I'm probably aging myself to every young girl in this room, like, what is that? And then the other thing I wanted to be was actually a doctor. And so I would study the heart, like, as a hobby. You know, whatever book I could read on the heart, I would read, and I built models of the heart. It's a really nerdy, geeky thing, I get it. But my parents really didn't believe in that dream, and that was unfortunate. And I was very smart and obviously driven, but I was told, you know, no, that's not really gonna work for you. It's gonna be too expensive, or, you know, I don't know if you're gonna get into the school that you want. And I think your advice was great. You know, Hillary, if I could go back in time and look at myself in high school, I would have found champions other than my parents, because unfortunately they squashed a dream for me that could have become a reality. And so my advice to all of you in the room is really reach for the stars and reach for what you think you want to do. And if you fail, it's okay. Failing is part of learning, and it's also part of that resiliency, right? When you fail, it's disappointing, but then you realize how bad you may want something, and you go at it harder the next time, or you fight for it more. And if it doesn't come easy, maybe even all the better. I think that's a really important lesson.
Want to jump in there?
Sure. So I think when I was 5, I wanted to be a marine biologist. The funny thing is I don't like water. And I can't swim, so I wasn't really sure how to put that together. And then I wanted to be a doctor, and then an engineer, and then a fashion designer. So I had all these amazing thoughts. I also read a lot, so I was pulling from many different sources of inspiration. I ended up going into physics and education and African American studies, and have this weird journey of how I ended up here. But the consistent piece for me was that I wanted to try it and see how it worked out. And I remember one day I was in a physics class, and a guy looked at me and he was like, "We don't have women in physics, and you should just go home and be a wife and a mother." Right? Rude.
Did you get his name?
I did. He's not doing well these days. No doubts. But that really struck me, because this was like the first time somebody had verbalized to me in my face that I couldn't do something, that I wasn't cut out for being in physics. And it threw me off. It definitely sidetracked me a little bit. And I was like, I'm going to get straight A's now and show you. And sure, that sounds great, but physics is really hard. So I think about when you have those moments, it's okay. You are seeing an obstacle in front of you, but that doesn't mean that you can't get over that hurdle. And for me, he ended up motivating me more. And now I can say someone told me I couldn't do something, and I don't care what they say. I ended up being my best self where I am right now.
And you know, it's a really common thing for women and girls, of all women and girls, all ages, all colors, all shapes, all sizes, to be underestimated. And so we as women, and girls, we have to believe in ourselves, right? And we have to look for people to believe in us, like Project Glimmer, because every single woman in this room and every single girl in this room can do whatever she wants.
Can I answer?
Sure.
Okay. Well, first I want to say, PJ, my very first job at the age of 15 was working at Baskin & Robbins. Yeah, and it was a great first job. So you know, I grew up in a family of really hard workers, and my earliest memory of work was seeing people come home very tired, not always in the best mood. And so I sort of decided for myself that I wanted an exotic job of some kind. I wanted to be, do something international, or, speak foreign languages. And so that's really what I pursued. When I grew up here in San Francisco, and in junior high school I took a Cantonese class. And in high school I took a French class. And I went on in college to study Japanese. And then in grad school I actually studied Swahili, which is an East African language. So I really wanted that for myself, to have an international career. And in some ways I got that. I did get a chance to live in other countries, work in other countries, travel quite a bit. So, finally, powers bigger, higher, stronger than myself, more knowledgeable than myself, really led me in the direction of working in community development. And I've been doing this work for 20 years, and I love it. So
let's talk about failure. Like, how do you overcome failure? And how has that made you who you are today?
yeah, well, it doesn't define you, right? It refines you, and it helps you to pick yourself up. And I mean, I didn't fail because I didn't try, right? So that's the main thing. You have to look yourself in the mirror after a failure and say, did I do the best I could? Did I do my best? Is it time to pivot? And where do I go from here?
And obviously the world did not end for you.
No, it did not end for me, no.
Since we're at a bank, I'd like to talk about the finance part first, because personal finance is so key. It's kind of the difference between having an option to do something or not. And they say that most Americans are $400 away, including adults, including people who have parents who love them and who have every opportunity in the world, are still $400 away from a personal crisis. And so let's talk about the importance of personal finance. And even when you're a teenager or a young adult, like, why does it matter that people save money? Why does it matter people manage their finances? Tell us why we as young girls in this room need to start thinking about it now.
If you start at this age with those type of habits, being in charge of your money, it will take you so far. When you know how much you have coming in and how much you have going out, and you account for every dollar, when you go to buy your first car, you'll be able to budget for your first car. When you open your first bank account, you'll understand how to balance your checkbook and make sure that you're not spending more than you're earning.
I would also suggest start with something small, right? So start with the habit of saving change in a jar, right? You get, if you have extra money at the end of the week, lunch money, quarters at the end of the day, whatever it is. My husband and I, we would save $5 a week in an envelope for Christmas money, right? Started at the beginning of the year, $5 a week, and we made it a habit. Or we would save our change, and we still, to this day, we're together 28 years this year, we still have the same piggy bank that we would save our change in. And usually once every couple of years, we will count the change, and we still do it. And that's kind of our mad money now. But at the time, that was our actual savings. And so I would say try to start these habits now if you can. $1, $2, 50 cents. It will add up over time, and it will help you get things that you want. And then the other thing I will tell you, ladies, is choose wisely in life and make a path for yourself to not depend on somebody else to provide you money and things that you want in life. It is about you, and you have the power to do it for yourselves.
Yeah. And I just want to chime in on credit, because people get that first credit card and they are excited, and they've run out, and before you know it, they've run up $500, right? And they're buying everything, and the bill comes, and they're asking you to pay them back, on a balance of $500, depending on what the interest rate is. So know all of those variables, right? How much does this cost you? I mean, if you got it on sale for $5 and you have to pay 30% interest on it, it wasn't $5, all right? It was more like $15 by the time you pay it off. Credit is costly. Manage it like it is costly. Manage it like it's precious, because it can make or break you. It's not just about whether or not you can pay back that credit card bill. It's about when that employer goes to pull your credit report, do they see a string of delinquencies, late payments? And are they going to say, you know what, this person can't handle their money, their credit responsibly. We're not going to hire them.
We talk about, how hard is it to get a mentor, and does everyone need a mentor? Or how do we get every one of these girls in this room a mentor?
So I don't think it's hard to get a mentor. I think it's about finding the right person who resonates with you. They can be completely different. They could have a completely different path, but it's about a connection and finding someone who's going to be real and authentic and give you really good advice and some different life experiences maybe than You have had, but you learn from each other. I've been really, really fortunate in my life to have several mentors, and I also have what I call my own personal board of directors. So there are people that I have in my life who are very special to me, that come from all different walks of life. And when I have big decisions that I have to make, or I have something that's troubling me and something that's weighing heavy on my mind, I go to those folks and I ask them to tell me the truth and give me the real deal. And sometimes I get different answers, but their perspective is always what helps guide me back.
Did you have any mentors?
I have plenty of mentors. I would say one of the things that you have to be is open to the experience, open to hearing from other people, and a willingness to share what is uncomfortable for you. Sometimes you have to ask people for help. Be very specific in that ask. You know, I can't say, oh, I need $1 million. No, I probably just need someone to look over my resume and help me learn the skills that I can get a better job and take care of myself. So be open, be specific, and also just know that mentor might be in your life for a moment in time. It might not be forever, but that's someone who wants you to win. You should be able to observe them, look at them for who they are, and say, you know what, I enjoy that person. That person is authentic, they are who they are, and I want to be around them. And that's, you know, it doesn't have to be formal. Sometimes it could be 1 or 2 conversations, and that's okay. But just be open to the experience.
So I'm gonna shift here now. You all seem very, very confident, very, very confident. And I've been told that when you were younger, you were a little bit shy. A couple of you were. So how did you get over your shyness?
I still feel shy sometimes. Like, I'm in a room full of people using a microphone. This is not my normal. But how do I get over it? I put myself in situations where I had to talk to new people. I had to make an impression, and I had to do that on a regular basis. So the first time you do it, you're nervous, it doesn't feel comfortable. The second time, you still kind of feel that way, but you got through it the first time, so you can get through it the second. And you keep doing it, you keep practicing, and then it doesn't become so scary. And you also find out people are really interesting. I've met so many people from around the world just by saying, hello, my name is. Who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Are you an only child? What kind of food do you like? If money was no object, where would you work? You know, you just start asking questions and you find out this world is really small, and then you don't even remember that you're super shy or nervous. You're having a regular conversation with someone, and you're also giving somebody else the chance to get to know you. So practice, constantly practice. And it doesn't go away. It's okay, it's part of life.
I had a friend who once told me, if you're sitting next to somebody that you don't know, just pretend they are the most interesting person in the entire world and try to ask them questions about what makes them so interesting. And then all of a sudden you get this incredible conversation and works out fabulously. So it's a trick for shyness.
Don't underestimate the power of sitting at the table. So when you walk into a room, a meeting, whatever, don't put yourself at the back of the room. Don't put yourself in the corner. You sit at that table. You deserve to be there. And you add value by being there. And I think as young women, I would say if at your ages, I would not have taken a seat at the table. At 50, I don't care what they think, right? But I will tell you, take a seat. You deserve it. You've worked for it and you've earned it.